Hello true believers. Welcome to the spoiler-free review of the third issue of the new Sentry mini-series. Yes, unfortunately you have heard me right. I said mini-series. Up until now I've been referring to the book as an ongoing series, but with the 6th issue missing in the November solicitations, it looks like the current Sentry run will end with issue 5. I have heard rumors before about Marvel planning 5 issues with Jeff Lemire, who would then move on and hand the Sentry over to another writer with an interesting idea. If that is the case, and I do believe that it is, more Sentry comics would have depended on the sales. And I'm sad to say that the sales for the Sentry haven't been the greatest so far. The marketing for the book hasn't been the best. The writer, Jeff Lemire, hasn't marketed the book either. That however is understandable, since he mostly promotes his creator-owned work. And let us be honest here for a second and face the sad fact that the Sentry is not the most popular character anyway. How do I know that, you ask? Well, usually the less Rule 34 there is of a character, the less unknown and unpopular they are. And there is pretty much zero Rule 34 of the Sentry. In case you are wondering what Rule 34 is in the first place, do not look it up if you don't want to get your childhood destroyed. I repeat, do not open up your Internet Explorer, visit google.com and type in Simpsons Rule 34. Instead, I will do it for you.
Vifta med Häderna. En gång till så har vi flowet i händerna. Mr. P-O-Lille känner alla på tänderna. Alla tjejerna tjejer katten ikväll. Vi ställer en alltid med vän och en till mig själv. Jag är beställd så jag bjuder hela klubben. Shit vad snart, jag bjuder på rubben.
Before we start with the actual review, let me warn you. I will complain about this issue quite a bit. While I've praised the first 2 issues, I'm complaining because with this current run seemingly ending with issue 5, the pacing of the entire story gets questionable. It gets questionable to a point where it looks like Marvel has to line the solicitations in order to make the plot look grander in scheme. I'm referring to the plot point, which stated that the Sentry would fight Iron Man and struggle to free himself. Spoiler warning, I guess. The Sentry does not only not fight Iron Man, but he doesn't even free himself from anything, since he doesn't even appear in the issue. Let me repeat that again. The Sentry doesn't even appear in this issue. Let me repeat that yet again. The main character, whose name is on the cover, and who is also on the cover, doesn't even make an appearance in his very own book. What the actual hell? On top of that, keep in mind that the appearance of a popular character like Iron Man is very likely to sell some additional copies. Iron Man appears on the cover as well, yet he also doesn't appear in the book at all. All we get are 1 or 2 little flashbacks of Bob, the Sentry, and Tony Stark. Something similar happened to the Sentry in the past as well. The solicitations for the 13th issue of Uncanny Avengers Volume 1 said that Deathseed Sentry would kill an Uncanny Avenger, yet the Sentry appeared in only 1 panel and told someone to piss off. The writer excused that with rewriting the story after the solicitations had been already announced. Now I wonder if the same happened to Sentry Volume 3 and Jeff Lemire. Did Jeff write a longer story, which then got cut short? And if so, why did they cut the story short? It could be a lot of things. Maybe creative differences. Maybe low sales. Maybe Jeff Lemire was too busy. I don't know. And I doubt that we will get an answer from Marvel. Anyway, let us start with the review. While I do think that the pacing of the 3rd issue and the overall book is very questionable, the story remains very interesting and intriguing. Jeff Lemire takes his time to further develop Billy's character, who was revealed to be the bad guy at the end of the 2nd issue. At first I wasn't very fond of the idea of Billy turning into a bad guy, but considering that Billy had more screen time in the 1st issue of the new mini-series than in all of the other canon Sentry books combined, I think it is safe to say that this new take on Billy is how the character is meant to be. And I like that take on the character. Billy has believable reasons and motivation for betraying Bob. The same can be said for Cranio. There is less focus on him than on Billy, but we still learn quite a bit about Cranio's place in the story. I personally would have liked to see more focus on Cranio overall. I simply believe that the character fits very nicely into the Marvel universe, and that he has the potential to end up being a great villain for the entire Marvel universe, not just the Sentry. The third issue takes place in the real Marvel universe for the most part, and since the support artist Joshua Cassara draws the real world scenes, he turns the issue into the Joshua Cassara show. And what a show it is. Joshua continues to work with a lot of shadows, which reminded me of Jay Lee's art in the first Sentry volume. But Joshua goes even one step further and even seems to imitate Kim Jacinta's style. And he does that very well, which makes the two different styles flow into each other very nicely. Overall, The Sentry continues to be one of Marvel's best books, and it is a pity that we won't get more than 5 issues. Everything the third issue attempts to do, it does it very well. However, it is very light on the action and there is a lie about Sentry and Iron Man appearing in this issue. They don't. Which is really something I just can't get into my head. Only 5 issues and the main character doesn't even appear in a whole issue. Like seriously, what the hell? Anyway, the portrayal of the characters, development of the plot and the stakes for everyone involved are what makes the issue great. I give the issue 4 out of 5 exploding suns. I'm very much looking forward to the 4th issue, but before that I'll see you again for the spoiler review of the 3rd issue. Until then, have a nice day, and as always, stay vigilant.